This morning we have an opportunity to hear yet another Ritter impact story. We'll be hearing several of these over the course of the next few weeks, and so this morning I welcome Tamara Fynaardt to share her own experience with Ritter.
Last week, a friend who attends this church asked me how Ritter was going. She'd heard Jeff last week, and she'd missed some of the sermons that he referred to, and she isn't able to participate in the Ritter Sunday School class, and wondered if perhaps she may not be on track then for the personal transformation that we're trying to bring about in ourselves and in others as we share what we're learning through teaching and modeling. I admit that I fumbled a bit trying to elaborate on some of the things that we've studied and explain some of the phrases we've heard, like mental model of mission. I have to admit I'm still not entirely sure what that even means. After the conversation with my friend, I reread something by RCA pastor Scott Steffen, one of our Ritter instructors, that I realized does a better job of explaining what Ritter is about than I did. You may remember hearing that one of the beliefs of Ritter is that personal transformation precedes corporate transformation. Here's another. Spiritual maturity and emotional maturity cannot be separated. Steffen writes, "We can't be spiritually mature while remaining emotionally immature. Spiritual maturity is not simply how many verses we have memorized or how consistent our morning devotion is. It also entails how I process my anger, how I deal with conflict in relationships, how I manage anxiety, how I live out the wounds of my past." Jeff talked a little bit about that last week. "How I keep my word or fail to keep my word." Those things are difficult to do, maybe, for many of us, but they're not difficult to understand. Reading that list, I thought, thank goodness spiritual maturity isn't only about how much scripture I memorize or how often I do devotions, because my life as a working wife and mom doesn't allow a lot of time for things like that. But the other things, navigating anger and conflict, managing anxiety and baggage from my past, and keeping my word, my life as a working wife and mom does offer lots of opportunities to practice those things in an effort to try to develop emotional maturity. We've been talking about families. I don't know about yours, but mine is a great training ground. Not just the 3 guys that I live with, but my family of origin, my siblings, my dad, a family that's still a little lost, a little homesick since my mom died just about 3 years ago. My family of origin is one that's trying to, that is celebrating, some of us more successfully than others, the fact that my dad met a great woman and married her this spring, and we're getting to know her, we're getting to know her 4 kids, and so it's growing. Within my family, my siblings, my dad, I'm trying to become better at understanding and expressing my anger in ways that are honest and not all out of proportion to the situation. Giving the benefit of the doubt in the midst of conflict, and sometimes just being patient and calm when conflicts or turmoil doesn't have an easy or quick answer or a clear solution. Managing anxiety, stress, and worry, not just in myself, but also among others as I interact with them in ways that might raise their anxiety. As Ritter teammates, we encourage each other to try to be the least anxious person in the room or the least anxious person in a given situation. I'm trying to better recognize when baggage from my past is affecting my marriage, my parenting, my relationships with my dad or my siblings, and then I'm trying to either unpack some of that baggage or, frankly, just leave it by the side of the road. I'm trying to more consistently keep my word, or at least feel appropriately ashamed and apologizing and making amends when I don't. It struck me after the conversation with my friend And after I reread Scott Steffen's description of what emotional and spiritual maturity entails, that if each of us tries to be more kind, more conciliatory, more peaceful, more forgiving, more accountable, then we will be individually and corporately living into our mission to be transformed by Jesus to transform the world.